Welcome to another in a series of Hydramaster's maintenance and service training videos. Today's topic is freeze protection for your slide-ins and your CDS units. The first, we'd like to start with the CDS unit on getting these totally freeze guarded. It's now October. You got to start thinking ahead to what's going to happen during the freeze. We're going to have protection on these pieces of equipment long before you actually have the freeze, and I think that is one of the most important things we're going to take away from this. Don't wait for the first freeze to happen. Let's be proactive, watch the weather forecast in your area. Some are obviously going to be quicker than others. So we'll start with the CDS unit, and we have our water box. We want to drain our water box after your job, at the end of the day. Drain the water box. The best thing to do is a 50-50 split. But what we're going to try to do is maximize the amount of use that you can get out of a gallon of the antifreeze. And so what we've come up with here is, instead of trying to mix this pre-50-50, what we'd like to do is pour this in straight into your water box. So we're going to drain the water box down to the bottom of the float. There's going to be a little bit of water left in here that will mix automatically, but we're just going to do this with a straight mixture, pouring it in there. It's going to dilute it a little bit. So pour your antifreeze in. A gallon will do. Close your top off. We're going to take another container. You can either get some more of these jugs, which I think are great, your chemical jug that you're using every day for your chemical. If you have a few of these left over or have them just on hand for winter specifically, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to do this at the end of each day. Take your regular chemical jug out, pour in a 50-50 solution into this, so pour a little bit of water in here. You don't need much. Pour in maybe half a gallon of antifreeze. Stick your chemical down in here. Have that ready to go. Have the machine running. After you've taken your chemical jug and you've mixed your antifreeze in, you've stuck your hose down inside, turn on your chemical pump to prime. It's going to draw the chemical in. You'll actually see it in your gauge. Once that's happened, turn it off. You're done with that process. We've got chemical in, we've got the antifreeze into the chemical pump. At that point, it's protected. Now that we have our chemical pump primed, let's move on to the balance of the piece of equipment here to get it protected for the night. What we want to do before we start the machine up, we now have our tank with a 50-50 solution approximately of water and antifreeze. We want to maximize how many times we can utilize this antifreeze. We don't want to have to change it every single night, add new. We can reuse this, and the best way to do that is with a recirculation fitting that is available at your local dealer. What this does is it allows me to use one of our chemical hoses to hook up to the fresh water supply on one end, and with the other end we're going to run it into an outlet. It doesn't matter if you've got 2 or 3 or 1, it does not matter which one you use to hook it up. Now what that will allow is for that antifreeze to circulate through, back in, get all the parts protected. Once you've done that, we want to run the machine for 2 to 3 minutes, which will allow for that circulation to take place, and we'll get this protected for the evening. What I think is best is to have a few of these jugs available. Just get some empty ones, and you can utilize them. You're not going to ruin them by putting anything in them at this point in time. You can use them as a chemical jug in the future if you're not using it for this. We can also use it for our descaler. We'll get into that at a different time. So for now, we want to back flush all of the antifreeze in the morning when you're ready to go to work. Fill it up into your jug, and you can use the valve at the bottom there for draining it into your tank, getting this filled. Save it for the next day. That next evening when you come in, you can go through the same process again. What I'd like you to get, which would be very helpful, is a hydrometer. It's very simple, very inexpensive. You can test each day, each night, because we are going to add fresh water to this over time with water that's in the system already, and it's going to diminish the potency of the antifreeze. So we're not going to be able to utilize it for the whole winter. We might be able to get a good week out of it, before you have to change it. But if you use this, you can see right on the gauge here, it's very simple. Fill the bulb, fill the tank here, and it'll tell you what you're protected to, and you can get an idea depending on what you're expecting for lows that evening. So that's pretty much it as far as the CDS is concerned. Making sure that we have both the chemical and the freshwater tank antifreeze available in there to get all of the systems from the low pressure to the high pressure, and that'll help, and you'll save a ton of money if you get a freeze, especially if it's a surprise one and you're not ready for it. Try to stay ahead. Like I say, it's October, start thinking ahead for cold weather. In discussing the antifreezes that are available, there are many brands. There's no specific brand that we recommend. Any antifreeze that's good for your car is going to be good for our systems. They're not going to cause corrosion. It's not going to be a problem inside. Wherever you feel comfortable, and it's easy to get to. So make sure that you can find a place that's local that you can keep going, because this is not something that you're only going to buy a gallon and be done with it for the year. It's going to take a few gallons to do this for the year. Also pick up an inexpensive hydrometer at the same location where you bought this, where it will give you a chance to check, to test the validity and how much protection that you have with that water that's being especially recycled. One thing that's very important is the disposal of this product. This cannot be just dumped anywhere. Again, your local dealer that you buy your antifreeze will be able to tell you where and how to dispose of it properly. We're going to move over to our slide-in units. Hydramaster has a series of slide-in units. For example, today we brought in the Boxer 423S, and I've got an older unit here, a Boxer 427, that I want to show just how similar it is to protect both of these. They're very similar, it's almost identical, just the different faces. Hopefully you'll be able to utilize what you have and make this work. Now that we have our chemical pump protected, we're going to go to the rest of the unit here. We're going to take a mixture in our freshwater tank. We want to drain the tank of any fresh water, or anything that's in there. We want to get all that out as much as you can down to the bottom. We'll pour in a gallon again of fresh antifreeze. At that point, we're going to take our quick release recirculating fitting that we have. We're going to hook it up to the inlet, freshwater inlet. The other end of the chemical hose is going to go to the outlet. We're going to make sure that we've got our good fittings right there and closed off. We're going to turn the machine on. We're going to let it run for 2 to 3 minutes again, just like we did over here. And again, it does not matter what unit you have, whether it's the 575, the 875, the Boxer 318. We're going to let it run for a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and it's going to circulate the antifreeze throughout the system. Shut it down, it's good for the night. We don't have to run heaters. I know some of you guys are running heaters out, space heaters in your vans. This is the best way to go. Any power outages, if anything happens to an electric heater, that machine is toast. It's going to be gone. You're going to freeze it. Hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to replace it, not to mention the time lost while it's being repaired. If we do this every night, when it's a freeze threat, this will take care of it. The next morning when you come in, you can drain the system out, save all of the antifreeze, put it in these jugs. If you have a couple extras, it's great, seal them off, utilize them the next night, making sure that you flush the systems all the way. The last thing I'd like to talk about is if you have a freshwater tank on board that's supplying your fresh water. You need to drain that every night. It will take care of itself. By draining that of the water in there will take care of itself. So you don't have to run antifreeze in that, but make sure you drain that water. Another thing that's helpful when you have a freeze is to help with the heat system when you're delivering it to the house. If you've got hose running across snow, you're going to take your hot water that's being developed inside here and it's going to cool rapidly. So one idea is just to run it inside an 1.5-inch hose to help insulate it. That'll keep things a little warmer for you and get a better job out of it for you. So hopefully that'll answer the questions as far as how to freeze guard your Hydramaster equipment, and you'll get good long life out of this without having to have these repairs, expensive repairs. Thank you very much. And for more information on how to freeze guard and protect your machine, contact your local Hydramaster dealer. Thank you.
If you're looking for the right truck mount, there's no better choice than Hydramaster. We got our start back in 1971 and have been perfecting our machines ever since. Because a company doesn't become a trusted leader in the industry by offering anything less than the highest performance possible. At Hydramaster, we're so sure of our machines, we even offer the best warranties in the business. We also support you with one of the largest distributor networks in the industry. You won't find better service after the sale either. Whether you need parts or just an answer to a question, you'll be treated like you're our only customer. We also help you succeed in your business by offering education and training programs and by supplying marketing materials. That's because our goal isn't just to sell you the best machine money can buy. We're here to help you work smarter. Like we said, nothing beats a Hydramaster. But don't take our word for it. See what our customers are saying.